My name is DeMarcus Farmer. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, North Memphis to be exact, and I'm a father.
I am James Jones. I'm from Chicago, and I am a father.
When I hear the word fatherhood, I think about protection, comforting, education, and support. Just being there, being a big role model to a young girl or a young boy growing up who needs guidance, who needs structure, needs discipline. That's what I think about when I hear the word fatherhood.
There's so many voids that need to be filled in a child's life. Being a father means stepping up and filling those voids.
Right now, the relationship with me and my father isn't as good as I would like for it to be. We don't dislike each other. We haven't, said any harsh words to each other. It's just a lack of communication going on right now that I would like to, have eventually get better. I don't want to hold grudges. Well, I don't hold grudges, and we didn't have an argument or anything like that. It's just more so I feel a certain type of way, so I feel that he has his way of feeling as well, and we're both stubborn, so we haven't really came to an agreement on what's really going on right now.
I didn't know my father too well. I knew of him till about 4 years old. I heard things about him. I didn't understand him. I didn't know anything about him. I did not know my father. No. Not knowing my father encouraged me to be a great father, and at least that's the goal. My father was on drugs very bad, and it led him to burglarize our house multiple times, and that was the image that I had of a father in my life. I knew I wouldn't make that same mistake.
The relationship with me and my father is not having any effect on the relationship I have with my son, because I take pride in just being able to provide for my child and give him a different lifestyle than how I was raised, and the structure that my father brought me up under. So the way I feel towards my father has no effect on my son. It's two different feelings involved there. Like I said, I would like for it to get better with my dad, but right now I'm just more so focusing on just learning along the way and trying to be the best father I can for my son, and taking my bumps and scrapes as I go along, and just working on more patience and being the best man I can be.
The most important thing I feel for child development would be the recap. If there's a situation where a child gets in trouble, recap, go over what the situation was and learn to grow from that.
Being a father to my son has impacted my life in a dramatic way. It made me grow. It made me understand that life is important. Life is serious, and you got to take things serious in life. So I go a different way now. I move different now. It got to be more strategic, just so I can make sure that at the end of the day, I'm not bringing home to my family, and I'm doing what I can do to provide for my son, and try to provide him a better future than I had. I can't, promise him that everything is gonna always be good. We will have rocky periods, but I want to make those rocky periods a little less rocky, if I can in some way. So, I'm just doing what I can, man, and taking life more serious and going about things, and going about things way more serious now since I got my son.
Being a father changed my perspective on life, because I realized that there's more than just me. I've had to give up a lot of selfish actions and mentality, just because I know that there's somebody depending on me, and everything I do for that child makes a difference.
My son, he's like, he only one right now, so he's really not developing he got a personality right now, but doing the things that I'm doing different with him than from what my dad did with me is, just making sure that I'm around. When I was very small, my dad wasn't really around like that, so he was kind of absent around those times. He wasn't really holding me around 1 and 2 and 3 year old, like 3 years old. Not really sure about the relationship between him and my mom, but he wasn't really around when I was really small. So me being here and being in physical form for my son, that's something different that I want to provide for him, and let him see that, I'm here for him. He can always come to me whether he's crying, whether he's sleepy, whether he's hungry, whether he's shitty, whatever the case may be. He can always come holler at your boy.
I feel like for a man to take care of his child, he's making one of the most important decisions in life. That child is the next generation. That child is the future. If we don't take the time to grow and nurture our child and be that male figure at an early young age, somebody that's in the household with them, somebody that's spending time with them, somebody that's helping them with homework, somebody that's just having fun with them, that's giving him joy. If we don't spend that time with our child, they're going to be doomed for the next generation of children.
I didn't have any doubts about myself about being a father. Once I found out I was having my son, it kind of, like I said, it kind of made me sit down and evaluate things a little more. I took life way more serious. I started, doing better with my money because I know I need to provide for him. I can't, my pride won't allow me to call or ask people for money to provide for my son, no matter what. I drive Lyft, sell a little ass if I got to, but nah, for real, I just, try to do whatever I could do, man, to make sure I'm just creating a better future for him. Like I said, make those rocky times a little less rocky by putting some money up to the side, not doing all the partying and hanging out all the time like I used to. I still like to kick it with my homies and see the fam, but just not as much now. I gotta move strategically.
When I found out I was going to be a father, I wouldn't say I had doubts. I would say there was a nervousness for sure, but I was ready. And I knew that this was my opportunity to step up to the plate. This was my opportunity to get on stage and show what I'm able to develop, show and route, a child the way that I want him to go and try to keep him from as many mistakes that I've made. And it's one thing I learned from my mother. It was learn from the mistakes of others, because you won't live long enough to make them all yourself.
Having a child for sure forced me to grow up. You can't be a child with a child. That's how I feel. You'll make all the wrong decisions. You will be, putting yourself first rather than the child. I got things that I like to do, but I make sure my son is well taken care of before I think about doing anything. I eat tuna fish or a wish sandwich before my son starves. A wish sandwich is when you get two pieces of bread, stick them together, and wish you had some meat to go on it. But I sacrifice for my son, and me knowing that he needs me and he looks up to me and he knows that I'm going to provide for him, I can't let him down.
The best advice that I can give to a father that's about to have their first child is don't quit. Don't lose hope. Don't lose sight. Keep in mind what you want to change from your life and where you may want that child to go, and work towards it every day. He'll appreciate it. She'll appreciate it.
Some advice that I would give a young guy out here who's about to have a child, a son or a daughter, who doesn't really have a good relationship with their father. If you feel that's going to have an effect on you, that's all mental. That's just the way that we think as young men. And we think that just because we don't have a relationship with our father, that we're not going to know what to do. Trust yourself, pray, talk to God. I promise you, he'll lead you down the right path. And just believe in yourself. Raise your son the way that you want to raise your son. Don't listen to anyone else. You don't have to follow the same pattern that your father had for you. Raise your son the way you want to raise him, and he's going to respect you. Give him that little bit of respect, a little bit of freedom. Like, we don't want to hover over him, but at the same time, protect him. You'll be all right. You'll be okay.
I think there is a negative stigma on black fathers. I think that stigma is that black fathers aren't present. But I can't say that that's a black thing. I can say that as a black father, there are already strikes against us. We know, probably say 2 strikes against us. But that's not an excuse for us not to do what we're supposed to do. I have seeds and life lessons that I have to pass on so that society won't put Jameson into a folder. I got trials and tribulations that I have to learn life lessons from, so that Jameson don't have to experience it and his son don't have to experience it. I can't blame any outside factors for who we are as black fathers. If we can point to an outside factor as an adult, oh, this is the reason why this is this. Well, if you're old enough and conscious enough to realize it, then we conscious enough to change it. If we as black fathers, one, don't get ourselves together, the world won't change. If we as black fathers don't get our children together, our household, the world won't change. If we as black fathers don't get our community together, the world won't change. And they will always see us how they see us.